Hello and welcome to Aviemore in the Cairngorm Mountains. As you can see, my crew have kindly fitted me out for a day on the slopes and I'm really loving the hat. But whilst the slopes have many people flocking here from across the UK in winter, it is of course midsummer. And the reason people are flocking here at the moment is to take part in the Highland Battle of Brain and Brawn that is the Intelligent Sport UK Challenge. So a little more suitably attired for an area boasting some of the highest summer temperatures in the UK, I can tell you a bit more about why we're here. The mountain range is the perfect arena for all sorts of outdoor activities, and for the last few days and nights, 90 teams have been testing it to its limits as well as their own. Let's hear more about that and about what's coming up with Rob Walker.
Thanks, Rebecca. It's been an intense 4 days of competition. 7 stages down, 1 to go, and this really has been an occasion where these participants have had to be prepared for anything. All sorts of terrain and all sorts of challenges, running, kayaking and a bit of scrabbling round in the dirt, as well as using their brains. They've played some chess against some of the grandmasters. No time for checkmate. Doesn't matter how big his guns are, it's how big his brain is. Some good team building going on here, some of the best businesses in the country, and the strongest team of all, the Norwegians Telenor. But can they hang on here on the very last stage?
Well, we've had a fantastic few days here at the McDonald Aviemore Highland Resort, but now it's crunch time. It's the final stage of the event, and the first team to run, bike and paddle their way to the finish line will be crowned champions. But they're going to have to be canny along the way. This is the event that stretches the mind as well as the hamstrings. 4 puzzles and 15 kilometres around and on top of Loch Morlich. Let's find out more of the course details with Rob.
Well, it's not just the distance these teams have to concern themselves with. They will encounter 4 brain cells, and every time they do so, they run the risk of incurring a penalty if they get the answer to the question wrong. And that could be the difference between winning or losing. It is a picturesque course. You'd expect nothing less from the Highlands of Scotland. And what about that? 2.2k of canoeing towards the back end of the course, and the last 2 brain cells are separated by a lung-bursting 2.5k run. It's got absolutely everything, this course, and these teams will need to be on top form if they're going to be victorious. Well, I'm not sure if she's a competitor or a mascot, but either way, she's got a cracking smile on her face. It's a stunning environment, this, and we are all set for a brilliant race.
Well, that's it. Nothing more to do than let the next 90 minutes decide who will take the title.
Well, this is it. The 2010 Intelligent Sport Grand Prix is underway. A lung-bursting 700 metres right at the beginning. All these teams have picked their best athletes. It's not quite Usain Bolt 9.58 over the 100 metres, but that sand is pretty energy-sapping, so they're putting in a good effort here. Loch Morlich is set in the grounds of Rothiemurchus Estate, home to ospreys, wildlife and some 10 million trees. It really is the perfect setting for this competition. And what they're grabbing hold of there is a Rubik's Cube.
Before the teams can make their way to the first brain cell, they have to solve a puzzle that's nearly as old as me, so actually it's really young. Now, if you were kids in the 80s, you'll know the Rubik's Cube, and you'll doubtlessly know somebody who could polish it off in about 15 seconds. Well, now is the time for those with the Rubik's gene to reign supreme once more.
Great decade, the 80s. I was rubbish with the Rubik's Cube, but AWE certainly aren't. They're in the lead at the moment, a team of cyclists and rowers. Watch out for them as the competition hots up. And over their shoulder, in second place, I think I can spy Capita Simons. There they come. They label themselves Quick But Thick. Well, that remains to be seen. They run their own adventure racing team, so I think they're being a little bit modest there. But AWE are a force to be reckoned with. They won this event in Sheffield in 2007. Quick instructions. They look like they've got this early stage right under control.
OK, we're done. Go, go. We're done, Rob.
In the notes they've given us before the competition began, it says that they specialise in navigation, observation and running fast. Well, so far so good from AWE as they head over to the first checkpoint. They can now pick up their bikes and get on with the 2.5k ride to the first brain cell. Well, it wasn't just a decade about shoulder pads and highlights, was it? But you can either do a Rubik's Cube or you can't, so 1 or 2 of these teams losing valuable time, but not AWE. They're out in front, but closely followed by the multicoloured team from Microsoft.
And I played with a lot of Rubik's Cubes in my time. Misspent childhood.
Get my bike out.
With the cube complete, the teams would all get an envelope containing an early look at the puzzle they'd have to get right at Brain Cell 1. An advantage so long as they'd be able to do maths while cycling. Past masters in the simultaneous exercise of brain and brawn are Airbus, whose captain, adventure racer Pete James, is one of the best at reading maps while crossing tricky terrain. They're also many times world intelligent sport champions and were out to reclaim the UK title they lost last year.
Our team strengths this year are sort of strength in depth. We've got a very good range of running and biking ability, everybody really. We've got 2 very good navigators, we've got other guys who can do that as well. We can handle canoeing, we can do everything. We're probably missing some of our more strategic, intellectually gifted team members, but I think we've got enough brain cells left to kind of hang on in there and get through.
Mental as well as physical preparation are needed to win this event then. Note Airbus doing their maths on the go here. Reigning UK champions in this event, Detica, are renowned for their high IQ, but on the evidence of the first climb into the Highlands, climbing past Airbus into the runners-up spot, they'd been adding horsepower to brain power over the last 12 months. You were in the team last year who won, yes, of course, so how do you feel this year? Any pressure to repeat last year's performance?
I think we do feel that a little bit because we want to do well. So every time we've done it, we've had a good result, and obviously we topped it off last year. So yeah, we do feel that little bit of pressure, I think.
Are you confident?
I don't think we're overconfident. I think we do feel good that we'll do quite well because we've got the fitness and we've got the good puzzle solving. But super confident, no, just okay.
And the thing is, of course, you never know what kind of puzzles you're going to get, do you?
No, and I think last year it worked quite well for us, to be fair. We have been working on puzzles and all sorts of different puzzles, but yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Good luck staying out of those brain cells, guys. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Well, these teams really have got to be prepared for everything. That's why this is such a fascinating race to watch. It can all change at a moment's notice. They're enjoying every element of the McDonald Aviemore Highland Resort. Set in the Cairngorms, they're not far from Britain's 3rd highest mountain, so descents and climbs to contend with here as AWE approach the first brain cell in the lead.
In intelligent sport, it's not unusual for any number of teams to hold the lead at any stage in the race, and it's here, the brain cell, where everything can change, where defeat can be snatched from the jaws of victory at any moment. It's easy. You get it right, you're on your way, but if you get it wrong, you're stuck here. It's simple, but it's really mean.
Well, these are the kind of questions that look easy when you're sitting watching from the comfort of your own lounge. But how many litres of water are lost in 2 days from a dripping tap, wasting 1.5 millilitres of water every 2 seconds, 130 litres. And as AWE contemplate the puzzle, we get a first glimpse of Detica, who won this competition 12 months ago. And they really want to make sure they stay in contention. And here's Airbus, usually used to winning, or at least being among the favourites, lost out last year, and they are really keen to get back on top. AWE, are they going to get it right? We're after 130 litres. No, and that's the first problem for the men in green. You can see there, 6 minutes they have to endure the agony of the brain cell while the other teams have a chance to get ahead of them and take the lead. Here come Capita Simons. They were second after the Rubik's Cube pickup, and interestingly enough, they've used the time en route to the puzzle point brilliantly. Team captain Tom Davis, a specialist in mental arithmetic, and they're up and running. Now here come Accenture. They've come through the field brilliantly under captain Steve Loom. One of their guys, Chris Griffin, is a member of Mensa. So they're suddenly in contention on the leaderboard.
Is it easy? Not easy when you're cycling along, but we've got it, so we're on our way. See you later. Okay, buddy, going.
No. Disappointment for Santander Cards. Happy days for John Lewis Partnership and all the other teams getting it right.
Yes, Logan.
Well done, guys.
European intelligent sport champions Telenor had come all the way from Norway, hoping to hear the magic word.
Yes. Yes.
Airbus's prediction that they might be a few brain cells short today seemed to be coming true as they dropped several places here, but they did eventually get it right. Unlike this quartet. The lockup was the place for him, while up front Capita Simons were on the run from Accenture in second. And another quartet from AWE were picking up the challenge for the Berkshire Boffins, before coming under pressure themselves from Airbus, who were riding their way back to the business end of the race. It was chaos for the teams, with the top positions changing all the time as we approached the halfway point of the course. Capita Simons were leading the pack onto the run with about 7 kilometres of running and paddling, including 3 puzzles before the finish. The Norwegians were working their way into second, the first Viking raiders to hit this part of Scotland for well over 1,000 years.
What is it, do you think, that's making you successful?
We are able to maintain a high speed, and then we are quite even on the speed, and we work really good together.
Quiet confidence then, but Capita Simons were feeling the heat from the Norsemen and racing hard to hold their lead to Braincell 2. There's a lot of work for the teams to do at this stage before they even get the information on their puzzle. It's out there in the middle of the loch, and if they get the answer wrong, there's an awful lot more paddling for them to do. Capita Simons still leading at Braincell 2. The question is on the left of your screen. The clues you need to answer it are on the right. But while you get all this information conveniently laid out in front of you, the teams could only find the same on markers that were out on the waters of Loch Morlich. Time to get the canoes out. Capita Simons were the first to get the clues, but sadly also the first to enjoy a penalty paddle back out around the loch.
Take the penalty!
Leaving the lead for the taking for Airbus and Telenor.
And replace the question mark.
Behind them, the multicoloured Microsoft and the fast runners of AWE were making it all sound simple.
Something like 3 equations on the boys. Okay. Get to the 4th, boys, find the question mark.
Telenor had got the clues but needed to make that pay with some quick calculations. Something they struggled to do as Airbus nipped neatly past them into the lead. Though the dunking of the answer sheet prevented the operation being quite as smooth as it might have been. So the Bristolians were back in the lead, and in second, AWE was showing it was really simple once you knew how to look at it. Each letter in these equations is represented numerically by its position in the alphabet. The pattern is that the first letter in each equation is subtracted from the second to get the answers. B equals 2 being the second letter of the alphabet. Y equals 25 by the same reckoning. And that, of course, leaves us with 23.
How'd you find that? That's good, that's good. Easy.
Catching Airbus in the last few kilometres might not be as easy as the maths, though. It took a few years for anyone to finally beat them, and AWE were finding out why. Have you worked it out yet? You've got to extract the well-known phrase to stay out of the brain cell here. Now we're halfway through, and no one can afford a mistake.
So here come Airbus A380 in the lead here.
What phrase does this represent?
As they arrive at the next question. And for this one, you've got to think Roy Walker and Saturday Night Catchphrase. Say what you see. Sounds easy, but the fatigue is beginning to set in for these squads. But it's a good tactic from Airbus, because this is not where they give the answer, so they can use the time en route to the brain cell to come up with the goods. Now AWE almost missed the question there. Interesting squad they've got, among them Phil Haycock, lightweight 8, 3 times national rowing champion. So genuine sporting pedigree among this quartet. Some blank faces there though. And here come Detica, the defending champions. Now these guys have been warming up with an indoor strategy night and a puzzle test. They'd be fun for a night on the tiles, wouldn't they? So while Detica approach, AWE are wasting time. No such problem for Airbus. Talking on the move, showing their experience and their expertise. Well, they reckon they've got it, and they're not far from finding out whether they're right. Now that's a sign of Detica moving past AWE.
She just said we don't. Yeah, but we don't answer here, so we can still trot to it.
Well, the toys are coming out the pram here for AWE. Airbus.
Or another pencil or a pen. It's wet, the paper's wet, it's a problem.
Just struggling a little bit because they dropped their answer sheet in the loch just a few moments ago.
Who knows the answer? We don't, but we can guess on the way.
And still some arguments here among AWE. They're just realising that you can run, talk and solve all at the same time.
What do you think it is?
I haven't practiced these enough, I think.
Well, at least he's still smiling.
What's your call on that?
I'm trying to write it, I've got wet paper.
Write it on the pencil.
Couple of anxious moments for Airbus.
That's correct,
We're getting towards the business end of this race, and the green tick means that Airbus are only one run and one brain cell from what would be a great victory. Meanwhile, here come Accenture. Once again presented with this question. Band and Hope. Remember, these guys have been competing for a long time. Steve Loom started in 2003. They need his experience now.
Right, I've got it, go.
Well, if the captain has got it, they'll be the quickest team by far on this question. That might give them an opportunity to close down the lead on Airbus. Boys in blue going well at the moment. Join us after the break to see if they can win, and we'll give you the answer to the question. Welcome back to the Intelligent Sport Grand Prix. This is the final stage of the 2010 UK Challenge, and while some have been enjoying the wide open expanses of Aviemore and the Cairngorms, others have been stuck in a rather more enclosed environment, namely the brain cell, after getting some of the questions wrong. Meanwhile, the leaders Airbus are just one run and one brain cell away from recapturing the glory days of the past. These engineers from Bristol train on the runway where they design the next generation of jets. They also train up a hill called Cardiac, so they're making their stamina and their running prowess count here. Detica also remaining in contention after a successful completion of Brain Cell 3.
Give and go.
So too for AWE. They've been there or thereabouts all the way through, unlike Accenture, who've risen from the back. But this section of the course is tailor-made for those with good runners. They can really press home their fitness advantage. Some of the Accenture team beginning to struggle, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with their problem-solving ability. It looks so simple with hindsight, doesn't it? A band on Hope.
Abandon Hope. I think I should have done that a long time ago.
Come on, Accenture, keep your spirits up. In fourth place, you can still see a glimpse of that podium. And the team in third are AWE, going well at the moment. And their secret weapon is Rob Simmons, a fantastic runner, literally pushing the rest of his teammates towards the completion of this race, and he hopes up into the silver medal position. There are Detica just up ahead, last year's champions, and Simmons, the talented decathlete, is having a cracking debut here in the Scottish Highlands.
This is your first time, isn't it? So what are you expecting to be able to bring to AWE?
Well, I'm the runner. I'm the fastest runner on the team, and that's basically my main role, I guess.
You know, you can't just rely on running.
I can.
Well, it's a simple strategy, but it's certainly working, isn't it? Because AWE have moved up into second place. Simmons, their secret weapon, has really done his boys a turn. There he is, almost dragging his teammates along the last couple of kilometres of what has been an exhausting but enthralling day. Airbus may be looking cool in the shades, but there's still one more brain cell that could separate them from victory.
For this last one, teams have to work out how many of the event charity logos are spinning in an anti-clockwise direction. The thing is, they change position every 10 seconds, and that's roughly how long it takes to count them if you're quick. Concentration, of course, is the key, but the team members are exhausted by this point, both physically and mentally, so concentration isn't going to be easy to find.
Well, an exhausting climax to that run over the sand, but just 200 metres separate Airbus from a victory.
What's happening?
This won't be an easy challenge, though.
Come on. What's happening?
Getting a little bit impatient here, waiting for the question to come up here on the banks of the Loch. Now, how will they approach this one?
Oh, what? Do it row by row. Do each row. So Max and Chris start working the bottom, John and me from the top, okay?
Yeah. Well, that's good delegation from Airbus. Meanwhile, AWE keeping the communication going, trying to maintain each other's spirits. Simmons is doing a fantastic job. He's virtually carrying the rest of this squad on his back. You can see Detica in third place. But I think that Catley is having a big impact on this race. He really is. A look of intense concentration on the faces of the Airbus boys.
Now, come on, we can get this, we can get this. 9 minutes is a long time.
Okay.
15 exhausting kilometres of running, cycling and canoeing, and it comes down to this moment.
I've got 2 different estimates now. We'll do one more time, guys, is that good?
They still can't make up their minds, but someone has got to make a decision, because here come AWE.
Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Remember, the finish line is just yards away, so an incorrect answer would be the end of their title aspirations.
Okay.
Do they guess correctly?
Well done, guys.
Yes, they do. It is going to be victory once again for the boys in blue from Airbus. A glorious charge to the finish line. All fatigue is forgotten about, because Airbus are the Intelligent Sport Grand Prix champions for 2010.
Bubbly for Airbus then, but trouble for AWE and the teams who had pushed them so hard all day, as more and more joined the not-so-fun party in the brain cell.
Right, boys.
It was all getting quite sociable until AWE's least fancied team so far came along with clear heads.
Yes, well done.
Or was it a lucky guess?
100% brain cells. Well done, guys.
Yes! Go!
Let's call it skill, and it was high fives all the way to the finish for second place behind Airbus, whose new squad members had enjoyed their first taste of success.
It's tough because you've got to concentrate on those puzzles, you've got to keep focused the whole time, keep calm, but we did it, so really pleased. First time doing this event, so over the moon with that.
AWE's Red Devils proving brains can bring glory, and the John Lewis partnership also made a late leap onto the podium. Last year's winners, Detica grabbed fourth ahead of AWE's Green Machine, whose charge at the end was not quite enough to bring victory.
Well, the Scottish weather has done us proud. We've had a fantastic event here in the Cairngorms. Airbus reclaiming their title. That's it for now. Goodbye.